going back in time and history, Fiji was virtually 100% forested when the first missionaries came. Of course, in the interim, we've deforested significantly for agriculture, and of course, initially there was a sandalwood boom, and fire has played a major role in the deforestation, both for agriculture and often for no reason.
In Fiji, forests cover approximately 58% of the land area and provide an important contribution to the economic, environment, and cultural well-being of the country. Unfortunately, uncontrolled burning of fires in some parts of the country is a major concern that is threatening the survival of some of our remaining forests.
The loss of forests due to fires is resulting in the loss of biodiversity, both above and below ground, and is accelerating soil loss, which is causing siltation and drying up of some of our streams. Frequent burning of some of our landscape has badly degraded the affected land to the extent that it will take a very long time for the land to recover, if at all.
We will examine and explore the issue of forest fires in Fiji.
A National Forest and Rural Fire Management workshop to develop a framework for a National Forest and Rural Fire Management strategy for Fiji was held in Sigatoka, Fiji in November 2017. In opening the workshop, the Minister for Agriculture, the Honourable Inia Seriratu, reiterated the Fiji government's support to the work of the Reforest Project and highlighted the important need for a national strategy to manage forest fires.
I'm confident that government has the political will and commitment to ensure that the national strategy on fire is developed and of course implemented as well.
The workshop, which is part of the Reforest Fiji project, provided a space for various agencies, stakeholders, community representatives and government to raise awareness, share experiences and increase knowledge about forests and fires.
It's one of those projects that are supporting the Fiji sugar sector. As you know, the removal of the subsidy by the European Union will mean a lot of changes to the sugar industry in Fiji, and that has got a lot of impacts for the stakeholders. And one of these is the Reforest Fiji project, which is supposed to be planting a relatively large area of different types of tree planting models.
Managing the land so that it can provide for future generations.
The facilitators of the workshop were a team from the Institute of Foresters of Australia, Foresters Without Borders. They held major consultations with stakeholders around the country before drawing up a discussion paper that they shared with relevant stakeholders and partners during the workshop.
We travelled around and caught up with stakeholders in late September across the various agricultural and sugar and forestry, non-government, tourism sectors, is we found that this particular strategy isn't just going to be able to focus on forestry. It's a much larger issue. Fire in Fiji is a much larger issue than just forest fires. So one of our largest findings is that this probably needs to be a rural and forest fire management strategy.
Throughout the workshop, there was open discussion and sharing of important issues, which would contribute towards the development of the National Forest and Rural Fire Management Strategy and the urgency of having it endorsed and implemented.
This year, we had 2,700 hectares of pine plantation that was burned. And this happened only over the last 6 weeks or so, particularly before the rain came in about 3 weeks ago. For 1 month prior to that, we had 2,700 hectares. To give you some context and relativity, altogether we have only about 25,000 hectares of planted area of pine. So 10% of it was wiped out this year.
A drastic change in mindset needs to happen in order for people in Fiji to change their attitude towards fires.
Before we used to talk about deforestation and sustainable forest management. Eventually the communities and the people of Fiji do get a buy-in So now we have to impress on them that fires should be avoided and only have light fires if there's no alternative for management purposes, but do control burning. And I think it should be taught right from when they are in school. So that's the best way to raise awareness and make everyone take responsibility for the management of fires.
Strategy will have education and awareness focus as well. People are sleeping and not realizing that they are losing their natural assets, the environment is being damaged, and they need to be woken up. Woken up with what? Woken up with a lot of awareness and education, and then of course the enforcement will come as we move forward. And I hope that that's the things, the range of things that we covered under the strategy.
While the range of the strategy would be quite broad, a concerted effort by government agencies with the support of stakeholders would be required to carry the strategy forward.
Having a national fire response in the form of a whole of countrywide government, non-government as a coherent strategy is so important if we're to really get real about fires. Otherwise, in 2 or 3 generations' time, there will be a high probability that the people of that time will look back and say, our forefathers were not good stewards of our environment and of our nature.